Normally on Monday afternoons we'd be doing PE. So obviously that would be a bit tricky to do at home. It was already a bit tricky because we couldn't go into the hall. So I was having a think about some of the lessons that we'd missed, that maybe you could have a go at some elements of those lessons at home. So the TLP for today is, can I make gymnastic shapes? I'm going to be showing you some different shapes you can make with your body, and they're really helpful when you're learning about gymnastics. And there's also going to be 2 video links of 2 amazing, inspiring gymnasts that I'd like you to watch. And if you watch them, especially when they're not flying through the air, when they're even just standing still, look at how they point their hands and their toes, because that is one of the most important part of gymnastics. You never have your feet sticking up in the air like you're about to kick a football. You never have your hands sort of in fists or curled up. You're always pointing your hands and your feet. So if you watch the clips first, because they're great fun to watch, so don't start trying to imitate them. I don't want people flying around their living rooms and jumping off sofas. And then I'm going to show you some of the different shapes that you can start to try and make. So here's a photograph of the man. His name is Max Whitlock, and he's actually a gymnast who competed in the Olympics for our country, for Great Britain. And you can see this is just him standing still. And have a look at how he's making that shape. If you see, all his muscles are really tense, and he's got his fingers completely pointed. It makes almost a straight line going down his arms. And here's a picture of him from the other side where you can really see how pointed his arms are. And he's making one of the shapes that we're going to learn there, but we're going to do it sitting down. So some of the shapes that you're going to learn, if you watch the videos again, you'll see that they are making those same shapes. Sometimes they're actually making them in the middle of the air. Sometimes they're upside down, but they're the same basic shapes. And I think that one's called a straddle. And there's the girl, the woman, I think she's called Simone Biles. And you can see she's doing the same thing with her hands. You'll notice that when she does her routine, I think there's music to it. And it's a lot more dancey. It's a bit more like a dance. But the same shapes are used as we're going to be learning today. So you could start by standing and making a straight shape, as straight as you possibly can. And if you look at the picture, the girl's on her tiptoes and she's reaching up for as high as she can. So it's making your body as long as you can. And the next shape we're going to look at is called the pike, and you'll hear that a lot in gymnastics. You even hear it in things like diving competitions where people are diving into swimming pools. So she's pointing her toes and she's pointing her arms out above her toes. It doesn't mean you have to touch your toes. Just point your arms out as far as you can, and definitely if it hurts, stop. So just stretch your arms out and point your hands and point your feet at the same time, and that's called a pike. Now a tuck is another word that you hear when you're looking at things like diving, but they use it a lot in gymnastics. So you tuck your legs up. You can still point your hands if you want, or you can hold your knees like this boy's doing here. So you can sit up, hold your knees, and tucking up, it's like making yourself into a really small, tiny shape. This is called the straddle, where you point your toes out, so you open your legs and you open your arms. And a star shape. Now, I think most of you know about star jumps. So to make a star shape, remember you still point your hands, stretch out your fingers. Now this one's quite fun. This is called a dish. So you lay on your back, and it's really hard. You have to keep your legs straight and your arms straight, and you lift them up. And it's really hard to keep that one up. And the opposite of a dish, it's like turning the dish over, is an arch. So this time you lay on your tummy and you stretch your arms out and you stretch your legs out. And that one's pretty tricky as well. Now a front support is where you use your arms to support your body, and you need to keep your body completely straight. So you're not meant to have your bottom stuck up in the air. You need to try and make a straight line with your body. And a back support is like that, but the other way around. So you lift yourself up from behind with your arms, and once again you've got to try and keep that straight line down your body without your bottom sticking up. Now this girl's making an L shape, so she's reaching her arms up straight and she's got her legs out in front. I think she could definitely be pointing her toes more. I'm not very impressed with her toes. I think she needs to point those a bit more. And a T shape, where you put your arms out to your side like a capital letter T. A Y shape, where you're making a letter Y, which is, I think, what one of those gymnasts was doing at the start. I think that's what Max Whitlock was doing at the start of his routine. So have a go at making each of those shapes. Remember, you can pause the video, so you don't have to do them one after another really quickly. Have a go. Maybe you could even take a photo if you're particularly good at one of them. Or if you've done gymnastics before, you might already be able to do all of those. You might be able to even do some other sort of clever things that you could take photos of. But remember, don't do anything that hurts. If you're stretching something and it's hurting, then you shouldn't be doing it. So I look forward to hearing about how successful you are at making some of those shapes.